REED-BBS, BBS. Black Bert Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies. Televisión. This Saturday, we got Gervonta Tank Davis. I believe he's 21-0, 22 KOs versus Ricardo Núnez, his mandatory challenger. Mr. Núnez is 21-2, 19 KOs. This will be broadcast exclusively on Showtime, so check it out. You ain't got to order pay-per-view or nothing like that. Or obviously, we have the Dallas homie, Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker, facing Jose Ramirez on the same day on DAZN. But if you don't want to order the fight on DAZN, or if you don't subscribe, then hey, you got a Showtime option. That's why I'm putting this out there. It's like that. Based on the records of Tank and Núnez, there's a 0% chance of this fight going 12 fucking rounds. Like that's just not gonna happen. The beauty of it is Tank's homecoming to Baltimore, his city of Baltimore. Now, he's fought there, I believe, a few of his early fights were there, but maybe not since his fourth or fifth pro fight has he fought back home in Baltimore. And this will be the first world title fight in Baltimore in like almost 50 years. And learning that, it takes me right back to when Errol Spence fought Jose Ocampo here in Dallas. That was like the first time in like 51 years, if I'm not mistaken, that a fighter from Dallas defended his title in Dallas. Mr. Curtis Coates, the legend, the homie, he did it, and then 50-something years later is when Errol Spence did it. So it's good to see Tank Davis. It's good to see any fighter bringing championship-level fights back to their hometown, their home city, their home country, whatever the case may be. But in the case of Tank, being a guy from the city, defending in the city, that's like almost 80 years. So that kind of surprised me. You wouldn't expect that big of a gap in a city like Baltimore. They're East Coast city, Northeastern city, so they would have that type of talent pool and just interest in the fistic arts in that way. But it is what it is. It's good he'll be able to fulfill his mandatory, Tank that is. The gist of this video to me, though, as you see Floyd Mayweather prominently displayed behind me, is the promotion of Gervonta Tank Davis, or the lack thereof, I should say, or could say, or just did say, whatever. So the inactivity, Floyd and Ellerby, they say, oh, we have a plan. The plan has never really been evident. I mean, you've had Tevin Farmer, you've had Ryan Garcia, you've had Gary Russell Jr., you've had Vasyl Lomachenko, like you've had any and everybody. Hell, you had Abner Morris wanting to fight you. Leo Santa Cruz kind of says he still wants to. And yet Tank, he still hasn't had those big fights like that. Now, the Morris fight wasn't his fault. Morris got injured late in the game, which would have been early this year, which would have propelled Tank to a different level. But after that fact, it's like, come on, man, let's put our foot on the pedal with this dude. This dude's like 23, 24 years old, and his activity level is what bothers me more than anything, and I'll get into that directly. So Tank debuted in 2013. He had 6 fights. 2014, he had 3 fights. 2015, he had 5 fights. So right there, you're like, okay, REED-BBS, BBS. What the fuck are you bitching about? That's a pretty good morsel sampling of fights for a dude, that young. But then we get into 2016. Tank had 2 fights. 2017, he had 3 fights. 2018, he had 1 fucking fight. 1 fucking fight. So right then and there, it's like, do we really have to wonder why Tank Davis blows up in weight? Like, there's no mystery to it. A young fighter, you keep him active. You keep a young fighter active. Dudes, at his age, he should be like 25, 26, 27 fights by now, like, for real. 2 fights a year, 1 fight a year, that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. And I don't want to, there's no excuse for it, period. This year, so Saturday will be the second fight Tank has had in 2019. How confident are you that he'll have a third fight to close out the year? I hope he does. He has plenty of guys standing in line to fight him. Forgot to mention Miguel Berchelt, Jamel Herring. Like, there's 4, 5, 6 guys in and around 130 and 135 pounds that will fight Tank Davis. I mean, he's an attractive option, and he's a talented kid. Like, my criticism of Floyd in no way should be misconstrued as a shot at Tank, because it's not. I love watching Tank fight. But getting back to Floyd, phenomenal fighter. Like, I can't front on the man's hand skills at all. Best fighter of his era. TBE, nah, you're not the best ever, but you're the best of your era. I'll give you that, bro. Like, hands down, period. I can't front. My thing is, Floyd, he's a promoter in name only. He likes the idea of being a promoter. And unlike Oscar De La Hoya, who was the biggest name in boxing and who at one time wrote all the checks for Floyd. Like, when Floyd finally blew up and got away from Top Rank, many of his ensuing fights were Golden Boy Promotions. Yeah, Al Heyman was the advisor, but they were using Golden Boy Promotions. That's one thing Floyd never likes to admit. He's on this I'm my own boss type of shit. No, really you're not, dude. You're fortunate enough to be with, like, Al Heyman, who, he's a real G in terms of business. Al Heyman doesn't do interviews. He doesn't want publicity. He's not out flossing what he's earned and throwing it in people's faces. So, and with that, he doesn't give a fuck if Floyd wants to brag about what he's really doing and how much control he has. Because Al Heyman was like, okay, whatever. Floyd didn't start making that money, Mayweather type money, till Al Heyman was his advisor. So you do the math from there. But with that same mindset, Floyd still, he's not putting his all into his the fighters he's so-called promoting, in my opinion. Just in my humble opinion. He always wants to be the most important dude in the room. And hearkening back to De La Hoya, you see him with Canelo. Like, yeah, De La Hoya's there primarily because Canelo doesn't speak English well. But it's clearly Canelo's show. Canelo is the star. You never get that sense or that vibe with Floyd. You never get that. You never hear De La Hoya speaking exclusively about Canelo. Like, he'll do a press conference and no one asks him shit about his career. It's a press conference with De La Hoya speaking on Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather isn't interested in that. Hell, we just saw with Pacquiao, he gets in the ring before the fight, gets out the ring before Pacquiao can dare to call him out while he's present, and then they have a back and forth afterwards, and you're like, oh, I signed you, you work for me, and blah, blah, blah. No, dude, no. Floyd Mayweather is not PBC. He isn't. He is not. Al Heyman is PBC, and he hires independent promoters to do his shows for him. Floyd just runs off at the mouth. Floyd, your money is what it is. Whatever, dude. And to any of the Floyd supporters who don't like this message, I'm saying, what is he doing for you? How is he helping your ass? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just say, oh, man, he making that money, dog. He making that cheddar, dog. Whatever, dude. Just whatever. Just don't be fake about it. You're not your own boss. You've never been your own boss. And you didn't sign Pacquiao. Pacquiao does not work for you. Just quit portraying it like that, dude. It's just a bad taste in my mouth. And it takes me back to the fact that Floyd's main objective is to still be the star. He wants to be the most important dude in the room. Whether his fighters succeed or not. Floyd does not want to see Gervonta Tank Davis be anywhere near as successful as he was as a fighter. Period, point blank. REED-BBS, BBS. Black Bert Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies. Televisión. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say or do.